So today we will look through the situation analysis in terms of identifying where we are. If you look at the SOSTAC, it goes on a circular mode. If you look in terms of number one, which is at the top here, the situation analysis, basically where we are right now. Once we understand where we are right now, we will then establish the objectives. So going back to the SOSTAC, if you look in terms of this whole overall, where we look in terms of situation analysis and we establish where we want to go, where we are right now, you identify the gaps. So this was identification where the gaps are. So you identify over the raise, the reach, act, convert, and engage. You identify what are the marketing initiatives that you have not been using, and that becomes an opportunity for you. This is where we look at where we are right now when you have identified where are the opportunities. So if you look at the overall SOSTAC here, you have the S, which is situation analysis. So today we will look in terms of where do we want to be. And this is the vision that we are looking at, the SOSTAC model, this element of SOSTAC planning that will help us to develop our digital marketing strategy. So again, I just want to say that SOSTAC is a planning framework that helps us to structure and manage the implementation of our digital plan. So the things that you look at this, it stands for situation, objective, strategy, tactic, action, and control. So this whole SOSTAC is actually developed by this PR Smith for marketing communication planning. In fact, last week, we have basically done this. We have gone through this framework, this RAISE framework, which is basically reach, act, convert, and engage. So we have identified opportunities in here whereby we look in terms of the selections of our solutions from TM1, whether it's cloud services, whether it's smart services. We identify what are the current digital initiatives that we have not used. Have we done SEO? Have we done paid search? Have we done content marketing, and so forth across the RAISE framework, which is reach, act, convert, and engage. So if you go back to this SOSTAC model, it helps us to manage and structure our digital marketing strategy. Situation analysis involves planning an activity that's involved at the stage where we are looking at performing a digital channel specific in terms of the SWOT analysis, which includes customer, competitors, intermediaries that forms the online marketplace. So where we are right now is that we have setting the vision. So vision is something that we are looking at when we develop where we want to go and where we want to be. So we have already identified, for example, the opportunities at hand for smart services. These are the opportunities across the RAISE framework, which is reach, act, and convert. This is the SOSTAC version. Where are we? Where we want to be? How do we get there? How exactly going to get there? What are our action plan? And did we get there in terms of control, in terms of putting in the KPIs, the metrics, so that we know how we get there. I just want to give you an example of how to fill up the SOSTAC. So this is a SOSTAC model, a method that helps us to develop our digital marketing strategy by structuring it into the abbreviation of SOSTAC. S again stands where we are. O stands for objective, where do we want to go. S stands for how exactly do we want to get there in general. And T stands for how exactly do we get there. Action will be A, action stands for implementation stage. And C, control, where you have measurements, metrics, and evaluation. I'm just going to share you an example how to fill up the SOSTAC. So how to fill up this spreadsheet here. So under the first one, which is situation analysis, so you can see here, your discussion should take place. It says that where are you right now? Where is cloud services right now? Where is smart services right now in the product lifecycle? Is this on the introductory stage or is it at the maturity stage? So you discuss where are you right now in terms of your situation analysis. Remember, S stands for situation analysis. Where is cloud services right now? Where is cloud services right now? Where is smart services right now in the marketplace? So this is an example. When you go to O, discuss what will be objective. So in this case, this restaurant, Hanaya restaurant, is in introductory stage. The objective will be get the name out there to build awareness, attract the target market to visit and try. So remember, each time when we do a digital plan, it has to be for one solution. One plan, one solution, so that we have a proper structure. So the strategy here on the third abbreviation, which is a SOS, the third one, which is strategy, it is really about Hanaya Restaurant, which is in the introductory phase, is to build a user-friendly website as their online home. So for their website, will be using content marketing. So this is back in reference to the opportunities that you have stated early on as you put into the last week's exercise. So each time you write, for example, content marketing, just put the RACE framework in there, which is the abbreviation of R, because that's to reach. So if you have, like, for example, influencer marketing, it will be R and A, R/A. So if you are selecting, for example, social media as part of your strategy, then it will be under action. Put an abbreviation in there, just a bracket over there. Moving on with the example of this restaurant, you have offsite, utilizing various platforms to direct target market to the website and eventually try our food. In our case, our food will be our content, whether it's going to be the top of funnel content, whether it's going to be the middle of the funnel content, or bottom of the funnel content. I just want to talk a little bit about the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel content. So essentially, you have the funnel. So you have the IDA. In terms of content, basically, you have three types of content when you want to build for your website and your social media pages, for example, your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page. So this is where you have your content hub. Under here, the content, this is where tofu content sits in. This is where mofu content sits in. And this is where bofu content sits in. So you have tofu, mofu, and bofu. Everybody, can you just repeat after me?
Tofu, mofu,
Bofu. Bukan taufu ya, bukan taufu ya. Tofu, mofu, and bofu, right? Okay. So these are the three levels of content. So let's go back to the example that we see just now. Under here itself, you can see the strategy. We want to use content marketing. We want to use tofu, mofu, and bofu content as our strategy to build our on-site content marketing as a content hub. Moving on to the next one is tactics. This is going to be the fourth one here, which is strategy. So tactics will be the fourth one, which is T. So SOST. So right now, we are in T right now. On the tactics itself, ladies and gentlemen, we want to define the right keywords to represent the brand positioning. So you got to identify your keywords under tactics itself. And you want to do SEO and SEM, aiming for local search, for example, and you want to post new articles every 2 weeks. You want to engage audience in social media. You want to boost online reviews from satisfied customers. You want to build external links to your web pages. Remember, web pages are those landing page. If you look at landing page, I just want to explain this a little bit more. Remember, I'll talk about landing page itself. So every website is like a book. Then in the book itself, there are many, many pages. So this is what I call landing page. So whenever someone visits our website, normally when they type in directly the URL, they will land into our homepage. So this is basically our homepage. For every TM solution, you should have one landing page. So whenever you have a campaign, for example, you should have one landing page that when a visitor comes, they will actually, instead of going to the homepage, they'll be going to your landing page. So one landing page equals to one campaign. So if you have two campaigns, say for example, for a particular solution, you have two campaigns running. So you have two landing pages. So instead of directing them to a homepage, your tactic is to land them into that specific landing page for that specific campaign. So moving along, so you want to also build external links to web page. So when you have great content that people want, you can ask trade websites that is related to your solutions. So for example, can anybody tell me what are the trade websites that is available for example, cloud services? When I talk about trade websites for cloud services. So when we want to build external links, we want a trade websites to publish our content, one of our web pages, particularly our landing page on your website. Let's say, for example, cloud services. So top 10 cloud services provider. If you look at this one here, this could be one of the trade website. Trade as TRADE RADE, trade website. So we want to click on here, for example, to see, and this is quite recent, 15th of July, 2020. So you can see here, this is one example of a trade publication. So Mahesh Chan, you can see here, he has his social media where you can click on here. This is Twitter, you can follow him. And this is part and parcel of what I call influencer marketing.
Can you further explain on the trade website?
Trade website, okay. So trade website is relevant to your product category. So if you look at this trade website here, this website is called C# Corner. This particular author, which is Mahesh Chan, he actually wrote this article called Top 10 Cloud Service Provider in 2021. He basically write about introduction to cloud computing. These are the key advantages of cloud computing. He even published the Gartner report in terms of the positioning, who are the leader in the space of cloud computing. So you have Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, which is a leader. You have challenger brand, which is Alibaba Cloud, Oracle, and IBM. And sometimes as there's a link. So like, for example, is there a link? Okay, so he basically has not offered any backlink here, but sometimes in the trade publication, we can approach them and we can actually get them to, like, for example, link our article in our website, for example.
David,
yes.
David, is it free whenever he feature any company name here?
No, it's not free. Obviously, you got to talk to him. So it's like you work with a KOL, a key opinion leader, or an influencer in the B2B sector. Sometimes it's free because if you come up with great articles that he or she wants, you are able to write to them. It says that, hey, we'd like to share with you this market report that we have done with, for example, with Gartner, and like to share with you. We are happy to share with you, and you are able to publish that on your trade website. And then you have a link that's linked back the source to your website page. Yeah, something like Soya Chinchao to Unify. So Soya Chinchao is more for B2C, but what you need to do is to find out the trade websites for B2B sectors, in particularly in relation to, say, for example, cloud services, IoT, or BPO, or connectivity, or cybersecurity. Every solutions that you have has a specific trade website. Yeah, it could be also a review website. But in this case, what we want is not so much a review, but more in terms of working with an author like Mahesh, for example, where he actually writes about top 10 cloud services provider. Because anyone who's in a marketplace, like, for example, the SME market, the enterprise market, who's looking for top leaders in CSP providers, they might just like Google it and type in like top cloud service provider in Malaysia. You can see here, top cloud service provider in Malaysia. So Google suggests, have already shown us that there are people who actually key in top cloud services provider in Malaysia. So perhaps maybe I can go to Google Trend to see that how many people is actually searching this. So we use Google Trend to find out those keywords that people key in Google Trend. So this is Malaysia. So you got to select Malaysia. And then what I do here is that I just put here top cloud services in Malaysia as a search term. So perhaps maybe I just need to edit this a little bit more. So I just want to check how many people actually search for cloud service provider in Malaysia. So you can see here the search term cloud service provider, and this is in Malaysia in the past 12 months. So perhaps make it a bit longer, the past 5 years. And this is basically on a web search. So you can see that over the last 5 years, starting from 2016 and to now, which is in August, you can see that the spike has risen in the month of August last year, started since last year itself. It seems to be seasonal, but you can see over the last 5 years, ladies and gentlemen, there's a greater interest in Malaysia on cloud service providers. So coming back to here, when we look at the top cloud service provider in Malaysia, you can see that some of the trade websites will be like, for example, if you look at here, clutch.co, IT services, cloud, top cloud consulting services. This could be one of the trade publications that you look at, so which they actually do a review. So when you do a review like this, list of top Malaysia cloud consulting companies, if this is a positioning that you want to do, because you do have cloud service consultants that helps people to embark to the journey of adopting cloud computing. So this is kind of like a review here. So yeah, Avantgarde, Original Intelligence, Wets, Berhad. So we need to work with all this review sites, the trade websites. I just want to give you an example that part of the tactic in the SOSTAC that we are looking at is really to build external link, here. To build external links to your website. So we have a very specific URL for this page here. And say, for example, URL number 1, and we have this trade website. So say, for example, they have an article that they write. So there's a hyperlink here, ladies and gentlemen, within the article in the trade website, where this is hyperlinked to your landing page that carries in this specific URL. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what I call, the yellow box that you see here is what I call backlink. And backlink, not bad, back, okay, backlink is very vital for SEO. It's very important to tell Google search engine that your specific page on your landing page or your web page has great content that even external websites is linking it to that specific page. And this is one of the key tactics in SOSTAC, where we want to create great content that people want, so great that even other websites will want to link this article, this content that we have into their website. So when you have a lot of backlinks, especially from credible websites, that's why I mentioned about trade websites, because trade websites are credible. They are relevant to the categories, the sectors that you're in. So backlink SEO is very important as part of the SOSTAC tactic. So let me just move on to the example here on the SOSTAC and move on to the action. So on the action side here, you can see, which is the fifth part of SOSTAC abbreviation, action. So once we have established our tactic, we want to look at action. Then we will delve in here more specifically. For example, if you look here, keywords. So you got to identify what are the keywords that's important in your product category. For in this case, for this restaurant, Hanaya is a Korean restaurant, and the keywords that you're looking at are, for example, organic Korean restaurants, authentic Korean dish, must try Korean restaurant. I'm really feeling hungry right now already. So what would be then the keywords for cloud services? Google Cloud, cloud price in Malaysia, cloud computing, cloud Malaysia. So you got to be very specific as like this Korean restaurant. It says organic Korean restaurant because they serve organic food, and they put in authentic because there are many unauthentic Korean dishes too. And this is also, they put in must try Korean restaurant. So you got to be very, very specific in your keywords. Like for example, best cloud provider in Malaysia. And obviously the things that Karen, you got to support that, right? So do you have any reports? So like Sabrina put that cloud migration services in Malaysia. So data safe, yeah, Lynn, that's a good one. Data safe in Malaysian cloud, wonderful. Right, homegrown cloud. Obviously, there's an advantage having a homegrown cloud, which is based, the data center is here compared to the other countries. Then there is private cloud, public cloud. Absolutely, right? So you are the subject matter experts as far as cloud services is concerned. So you need to select very specific keywords that is relevant to your business sector, and more so, keywords that is also found in your website. You got to identify keywords that is already in your website. That's very important, because when you do, for example, your paid search, your Google search, when you put ads, when you do your copy in your paid search, you got to write copies of keywords that is already available, those keywords available on your website. So if you find that in your website, you don't have those keywords, then you might want to review your website, the keywords in there too. And probably you want to put in the keywords, those keywords. And especially after you have done your keyword research to find that there is high volume in Malaysia looking for that specific keywords. Who asked me a question just now?
Lily.
Lily, yes. Lily, your question.
Is there such thing as toxic or backlink?
Toxic backlink.
Because as you speak just now, I Googled. So I understood from you that there are goodness in backlink, but is there the ugly side of backlink?
Well, I wouldn't say it's toxic. They might misrepresent the information. So like, for example, some of trade websites, they might misrepresent the information about cloud services from TM1, or maybe the information is outdated. So you don't get a lot of toxic trade websites for B2B, but you get a lot for the B2C sector, the consumers, especially when hashtag you on their social media pages. So that's something that if it's toxic, for example, then it's something that you got to make sure that you address the issue. So, but for B2B marketing, like for yourself, backlinks for you, for your sector, you really got to look at whether those information that's published on the trade websites, are they updated? Do they represent that information correctly? Okay, Lily?
Yep.
David,
Yes, one.
that means the trade website, are they influencers generally?
Well, they could be. They could be influencers. So, for example, news portal like the Age, for example. It could be also the Star. It could be Sinchu business section of their websites. So it could be the news portals. It could be the influencers like Maish Chandran. So it comes in variety, Apwan.
So influencers not necessarily an individual. It can be a company.
It can be a company, like for example, Gartner.
Okay.
Yeah, Gartner it can be an entity, it can be an individual, it can be a news portal, for example, or it could be also a community in the forum, say for example, a community that's set up, or it could be an association too. I'm not sure whether you have a cloud service provider association, because in my industry, in advertising and marketing, we have like association, the Advertising Association of Malaysia, for example. So sometimes they do publish content, right, that's related to the particular industry. So where we are right now, we are in the action side, the action of the SOSTAC, the last A, which is basically, I spoke about keywords. So part of the action point is to identify keywords, main keywords that's relevant to your category, your solution category. So remember, be very specific. So at this point of time, when you do your discussion, your brainstorming, don't have to do a deep analysis. All I want you to do is just to discuss among yourself, what are the possible keywords? Once you identify those keywords, I will teach you how to validate those keywords, whether those keywords are high volume or not, whether those keywords are high quality for you or not, and whether those keywords are found in your web pages or not. So it's important because today in search engine marketing, it's all about keywords. If you talk about SEO, it's also about keywords. And so we want to generate backlinks. We want to drive traffic from there because those traffic that comes from trade websites, they are definitely very, very relevant and credible. So then the next thing you want to do here on your website, on your on-site SEO, you want to add meta tags and content to the websites. And you probably want to do a social media activity like Instagram challenge, hashtag Hannah Ya Face, show your happy face when you're eating our dish. You probably want to do a promo or you want to do a demo in your case. So these are some of the action activities that you can do to get the engagement from your target market. So probably host a cooking class. So in your case, you probably want to do a demo. You want to do a kind of a webinar and the things that for the influential people. Besides sharing article or content with the trade websites, you can even invite those influential in the B2B cloud computing sectors, invite them, host a webinar, give talks. And I know like Microsoft Azure, they do a lot of this. They invite all the influential people in the sectors and ask them to write online reviews on their social media pages or their blog posts, then referring to our social media and websites. And the last one, the most important part that is mostly neglected is C. If you look at C itself, this is where we look at C, which is the last one here. So we are in C right now of the SOSTAC. So this is where we need to put in all the measurements, the metrics, and the KPIs. So the part of the SOSTAC, what you need to fill in is that we need to analyze our website sessions, our bounce rate. Just for your note, in Google Analytics version 4, the latest version for Google Analytics, it doesn't measure bounce rate anymore. It only has engagement rate in session. So then you have the session duration. This is from Google Analytics. And then you might also want to review the website ranking for each of the selected keywords. Check also your competitor's position. And then you want to evaluate the content that you produce, whether is it interesting to the target. Because if you can use tools like, for example, under your Google Analytics, you can look at the pages and see whether there's a lot of traction, especially when you apply the UTM code. So UTM code looks like this. It's basically embedded in your URL, your URL address. So like, for example, tm1.com.my, for example, and then you have UTM, first one here, which is article number 1, then /UTM from your LinkedIn page, and then /UTM This is for your cloud service provider, CSP. When you use UTM, it's basically embeds the source of the article so that when you look at your Google Analytics, you can actually find that the traffic is attributed or the engagement is attributed to this particular article number 1, which is published in the LinkedIn page. It is about cloud service provider. Daryl just posted this on the Zoom chat. So it looks like this. Yeah, thanks, Daryl. It's much better than my illustration, right? Yeah, so this is the actual UTM. It's tm.com.my/solution/cloud services. That is the specific product category that you're looking at, that specific web page. And then you have the content assets, which is the Cloud eBook Malaysia Leader Guide. That's the content asset. Then you have the UTM. This is the source is from WhatsApp, all right? So you probably send WhatsApp to people. And then you have UTM, a media, which is social. Your campaign is Cloud Alpha. So thanks, Daryl, for this example. It's good. So the last part of here, so we need to analyze sessions. We need to review our website ranking for each of the keywords. We got to evaluate our content. Remember, we got to look at our tofu content, which is at the top of the funnel, and see whether it's interesting enough to our target market and what other topics that could give value both to the customers and to ourselves. And then we also got to check our followers in our social media account, whether it's your Facebook page or in terms of our linking pages. So we got to learn all the relevant things between the business and themselves, and we got to evaluate the results of our webinars, our hosted events. Then after that, we have done this, we go back to situation analysis. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is what SOSTAC is all about. All right. So let's begin. Just let me move on to the right screen here. Okay, I know it's kind of a bit small. So this is how we're going to do things. The things that you have already appointed your spokesperson, okay, the presenter. But if you want to present as a group, I'm also totally fine with this. So we'll start off with group 1. Well done. All right, let's give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause. Okay.
Yay, thank you. This is Karen.
Okay, this is Karen. So what
Yes.
I'm going to do here is that I'm going to make this besar sikit. Okay, Karen.
All right, sure.
So then I will just go into like 1, 2, 3, 4, right, as you present. So Karen, all you need to do is just tell me, okay, David, next. You
Alright.
boleh bagi saya instruction. Okay,
No
I'll be your mover. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, everybody, over to Karen.
Thank you.
For group 1, we will actually presenting by all the group members. So each of topic we already have the presenter. So
okay,
in the nutshell, I think this is a group work. Everybody are contributing. So we are mapping it with some of our current function. So I think it's a good exercise that we can implement it with our existing workflow. So we start with Karen first on situational analysis. Okay, over to you, Karen.
Okay, everybody give a hooray to Karen.
Thank
Give
you.
it up to Karen.
Hooray.
Woo!
Right.
Woo!
That's new. Okay. So for the first one, we need to let you guys know that we are working on TM1 Smart Services, and it's fairly a new product and services as well. So we are here at the introductory phase, and just for information, we are more on the awareness sides. And for awareness, there's a few different stages as we need to take note of, as a customer can be unaware, slightly aware, mostly aware, or very aware. So we are basically working on the customer who has a problem, desire that may or may not be aware of the solutions and product that we can actually fulfill those needs. So yeah, in the inverted triangle, we are on the top there, awareness. So that's from me. So next, for where do we want to be, we'll pass it to Jess.
Okay, over to you, Jess. Let's give it up to Jess. Jasmine, right?
Hi. Okay,
Hi.
sorry about that. Okay, I'll be on number 2. Where do we want to be for smart services? After the awareness, actually, we want to identify what kind of objective we want to achieve. And actually is to achieve on awareness of the smart solutions, and also to attract the right target market to visit us, to explore our solution services as well. So we want to provide more values in terms of product and solutions to our consumers, and also to enhance their customer satisfaction level, which is related to our smart services industry. And the last one is actually to further understanding our customer needs. We would like to do more exploration in terms of the insights, analytics, and data statistics in the industry itself. So from objective, we would like to go to the next, which is the strategy, and I'll pass it to Atika.
Okay, let's give it up to Atika.
Right. So, well, you've heard about the objective, and now here's the plan. The plan is actually to have a landing page for TM1 Smart Services. The reality is we already have the landing page, and it's just a matter of leveraging that page to build growth on the digital marketing side with the media platforms, and to cover the main three content tracks, which are pipeline progression, always on, and agile marketing. So that's the plan. So moving on to the execution, which is the tactics. Go to Rashid.
Hello, so the tactics is action. So let's see what is the tactic in action. Like Ika said, the strategy to cover three main content tracks, which is pipeline progression, always on, and agile marketing. So for the pilot progression, it is a solution brief, product brief, infographics, fact sheets, data sheets, success story. There is where we share with our potential clients or visitors of our website. And for the always on, we have the M1 branded articles, DOOH, digital out of home, advertorial in the age, business today, and vertical-led online magazine, newsletter, social media, some influencers called Vitrate website, like you mentioned earlier during the class, and also keywords based on the Google trend. And for the agile, we provide with news release, webinars, events where the webinar and events we engage with our clients, and we share with them our smart services solutions with them. And also it is for mass and vertical specific events as promotional EDMs. So let's move to the action with Lily.
Hi, thank you, Rashid. So from my part, I'm doing the action. So we clearly split it into keywords, program, and media, so that we can easily identify and detail it further. So on the keywords, since it's smart services, we have a range of smarts vertical that we need to ensure the keywords is inside, which is first the generic one, which is smart services, followed by smart cities, smart premises, smart industries, smart manufacturing, agriculture, so on and so forth, including cloud, IoT, 5G, connectivity, analytics, intelligence, and Industry 4.0, because we feel that all this will actually contribute to the link back to our website. Under programs, we have a spread of programs. This is a promo program, which is usually on pricing. Then we have bundling, partnership, market penetration, whereby we try to penetrate new market. Competitor attack, this is for us to actually take over their market share. And then under program, we also have webinar and event, because this also would generate leads for us. Lastly, the media push. This is on traditional media as well as social media, which contributes to LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, SEM, advertorial with backlinks, as well as Ask Us on Smart Services weekly column. This is where the customer or end user or the public can ask us anything they want on smart services, because like what Karen mentioned just now, we need to create awareness, and this is one way to create awareness by having a Ask Us kind of thing. Then lastly is advertorial on any vertical online mag, because if we were to do it on the edge and everything, is a generic platform, meaning it's for the masses. When we say on vertical platform, it can be those probably architecture magazines or manufacturing magazine that is very vertical centric. And also for media, it's news release. Next we'll go to Jana. She will be talking about control.
Okay, Princess Jana. Princess Jana, please, over to you.
Okay, so for control, so how do we monitor our performance? How do we know what we have done brings impact, and did we reach our target? So this phase focuses on the analytics and the KPIs. What we have here is the monitoring and reporting using Google Analytics, website ranking, lead generated from Agile Marketing. And then we have lead tracking, MQL, downloadable content, and pay per click, as well as follower count, increment of followers on our social media platform. So the relationship between the content posted and number of the incremental of the followers.
Yeah.
Then we have the insights, which is to improve and increase engagement as well as get more impressions, as well as view is the viewership and unique viewership. So this actually shows you how our goals have been met, how and in regards to what have failed and what should we change. So this is actually sets a fixed course throughout the whole strategy that we have.
Wonderful, wonderful, right? Excellent
So
work. Yeah.
overall summary will be done by Encik Sam.
Okay, thank you, Tim. I think
Okay, over to you,
great work.
Sam.
Yeah, okay. So I think the overall SOSTAC is a good actually technique for us to apply in our current methodology that we have actually outlined all the activity from the three main bucket, which is the pipeline progression, always on, and agile marketing. So now we need to stitch it according to our structure and work accordingly as what we have been planned here. So I think it's ready to be executed accordingly. All right, thank you from Group 1.
Cikgu, it's me, Zani.
Yes, Izani.
There is the group had actually explained about the PPC or pay per click. So is it maybe in general or with these smart services, is it will be impactful to the strategy?
So the strategy of using PPC.
Yeah.
For smart services.
Smart services, yeah.
Yeah. What is the impact? Is it?
Correct.
Yeah, so the impact, I think, first of all, you need to look at the role of PPC. So PPC works on intent marketing. That means people who have intention will look for something that they need right now. So given the scenario for smart services, for example, somebody from the agricultural sector who's looking at in terms of monitoring their crops. So because right now we cannot travel interstate, right? For example, this person is probably in Peninsular Malaysia, and he has plantation over in Sarawak, and the thing is that he's finding it challenging to monitor his crops. And in terms of agriculture, the role of IoT, it's Internet of Things, it plays a very pivotal role in terms of monitoring or assessing the current environment over there. So this is where this person could be a business owner who have came across this term called IoT. So then what he does is that he will just go into the Google, type in IoT Agriculture Malaysia. So when you look at this, IoT in Agriculture Malaysia, these are all the PPC ads, right? Yeah, Izani, are you with me? Right? These are all the PPC ad, the search, the Google ads. So number one, you see you have FusionX. FusionX giant IoT solution, monitor and manage in real time. So if he has a need to monitor and manage in real time his plantation over in Sarawak, for example, would you think that he has this intention? Would you think that he will click on this ad, Izani? Do you think he will click on this ad?
High chances.
Very high possibility, right? Because he already have an intention. So the impact of PPC on smart services, as particularly on this area when talk about IoT, if he keys in IoT in agriculture, Malaysia, then this ad will be presented to him, and it's very highly likely he will click on this ad. So when he clicks on this ad itself, it goes to that specific landing page. And to me, FusionX, this landing page is very generic. It doesn't really talk about agriculture. Do you see that? It doesn't really talk about agriculture. Whereas the keyword that he put in just now was what? What was it? What was the keyword just now? Can somebody tell me?
Agriculture.
All right. The keywords are agriculture, IoT in Agriculture Malaysia, IoT, right?
Yes.
So the things that this ad, whilst is right in position number one, PPC, but I call it's not an effective ad, because it doesn't have a landing page or a copy ad copy that is related to agriculture, IoT in agriculture. Whilst this person who is searching for IoT in agriculture Malaysia has the intention to find out the technology solution for him to monitor and manage in real time his plantation in Sarawak, but he's most likely not going to will not click on this ad on the first, but instead, let's see TM1, right? TM1 Smart Services. So if I click on TM Smart Services, it says simplify IoT adoption. Okay, so the copy also not very, very relevant to agriculture because there's no keyword on agriculture here. So I will write this copy to include the keyword agriculture in this. So do you know that your paid search, you can have many, many ad versions? So if somebody will key in IoT agriculture Malaysia, then you can serve that specific ad version that has a body copy, IoT, of course, agriculture, and in Malaysia. Yes, Sabrina.
Sorry, I'm a noob in all this Google search, but why does Google show this particular ad to the person that searches IoT agriculture in Malaysia, since there's no keyword there?
No, because your media buyer bought these keywords, instructed Google, says that when anybody key in IoT in agriculture Malaysia, serve this ad, which is simplify IoT adoption. It was an instruction given by the media buyer of a Google Ads.
I see.
So therefore, if this ad is placed by your media agency, for example, you got to tell them that you got to make the body copy more relevant. Coming back to this one here, you can see that it's also not likely I will click on this copy, your TM1, simplify IoT adoption, because I'm interested in IoT in agriculture. Then let's look at the third one, the third ad. You see this ad? farmrp.com, IoT-based smart agriculture system for farm 300 acres and above. Wow, I would definitely click on this because it's so relevant. It has all the keywords that I intend to look for. So I'll click here, IoT-based smart agriculture system. Then you see here, this is the landing page. Large farm management software, revolutionizing agriculture to smart innovation, and blah, 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 and so forth, right? You can see this is really specific to agriculture, IoT agriculture. In fact, Google will reward this advertiser called Farm RP. Why? Because the more people click on this ad, Google will reward them by charging them lesser than what you will pay as TM1 and also FusionX. So this is what you call quality score. Sabrina says in the Zoom chat, our ads are not on point, but yet we have to pay when people click on the ad. That's right. When they click on the ad, they go to your landing page. And what happens is that people bounce off from your website, from your landing page. And then Google will say your quality score of your Google ads is very low. That means you're serving ads that's not on point, not relevant. And because of that, you have to pay a little bit more expensive than an ad that's relevant. So therefore, before you even can do Google Ads, make sure that you have the right landing page that's specific to agriculture, IoT, and make sure that ad copy in your paid search, Google Ads has to also be relevant. So it all works in a way. So it takes a lot of work. How do you know we have good content before we engage with Google Ads? So before you even deploy by doing paid ads, for example, like Google Ads, so you got to look at your organic engagement first. What I mean by organic engagement? Organic engagement is basically on your SEO. Like for example, IoT in agriculture Malaysia. So these are all the paid ads. So if you look at SEO, search engine optimization, or in search engine ranking page, at the bottom after the ads, you have, like, for example, this snippet here, Bojan Magazine. You have Felda Global Venture, Smart Farming, the future of agriculture business in Malaysia. This is the landing page from organic engagement. So this is when you have a website like this, for example, this article about Smart Farming, the future of agriculture Malaysia. Say, for example, you have this particular article on your website. And obviously, to Google Analytics, you can see what is the engagement, how many people actually landed on this page, how long do they spend time reading this article? And the other analytics is that, did they actually scroll all the way down or not? All the way down or not? Read the whole article. And then also you can measure, is there a kind of like a call to action thing that they can do? Obviously, this one doesn't have. This is just a plain article with no call for action. So there are many engagements that you can do to work on that.